Alright, this is Lizard Man and I'm here with my chest expanders. It's been a while since I said I was going to post this and I haven't done it, and I'm sorry about that. Things have been busy and I've been forgetful. So between the two, you guys have missed out. But we're here now. These things are a type of elastic resistance, as you can see. They stretch out and they're pretty stretchy. I mean, coming all the way out like this is not going to make them break, obviously. They're designed to go that far. So you don't need to worry about any snapback or anything like this. These are made by Lifeline Fitness. They're 15 bucks a pair, and they come in sets of 10-pound progressions. Each one comes with 3 straps on here. This is the 7th set. Each of these are capable of providing up to 70 pounds of resistance at full stretch. So when you use these, you adjust them by popping the bands out. You literally stretch it to make the band a little skinnier, and the thicker ones are a little harder, but they pretty much snap right in. And right now, since there's 2 bands at full extension, this is 140 pounds. And doing that straight out in front of me is reasonably difficult. If you ever watch Matt Fury's video on this, you'll notice he lets these things just slap back together, and he says that that's just how it's going to be. And as you can tell, that's wrong. He's a little bit of an idiot for saying that. I'm not discounting him as, a fitness guru or anything like that. I don't know him, but he's absolutely wrong in saying that you cannot control these. Now, these are mainly good for shoulder girdle stability, and there's a ton of things you can do with these. I'm going to show a couple of the basic moves because not everything is really super important. The ones I want to focus on are, you can think of it as reverse fly. I forget what the technical strand pulling name is for this. Strand pulling is what this is called, by the way. It's a sport in Europe. We're going to call this a standing reverse fly, and when you're doing it straight out in front of you, it is very good for scapular stability and retraction, and it is fairly difficult at this level. This is 140 pounds, and you want to strive to maintain locked elbows or close to it the whole time, and when you're coming back out, control it. You don't have to let it snap back out. If it's snapping back out, that means that you're really not strong enough to be using that weight yet. So concentrate on that strength. Now, one thing you'll notice is that even though this is not, the resistance hasn't changed, when you bring it up to about a 20-30 degree angle, it's much, much easier. And that's because I'm not even exactly sure what muscles are coming in when I do this. It feels like rhomboids and a little bit of lats, but everything's working to some degree. This is more of a downward retraction of the scapula, and then you guys have seen in Ito's videos where he brings it all the way above his head and then stretches out like this and then comes back up. That again is also retracting the scapula and depressing them downwards. And all these things are really, really important. Everything ties into the shoulder girdle stability. And if you don't have that, if you're recovering, if you have loose shoulders, all these things can be risk factors for injuries, and these things really, really help. Now, when you go below the horizontal plane, you start working more on the medial and anterior deltoids. And I know you're strong enough to do this with 140. We're going to drop it down to 70, and that I can do. When you start down here, it's the same thing. The one thing you want to concentrate on is you don't want your shoulders to collapse inward into the socket. You want to be trying to reach out, not just with the fingers, but also with your shoulders. And that's kind of a weird concept at first. It certainly took me some time to get used to, but I figured that out because when I didn't do it, my right shoulder hurt, and this is how I've rehabbed it. If you are not strong enough, don't try and use a weight you're not able to do. Second thing is, when you are using these, maybe you hurt in this range of motion. At first, from here to about here was really painful for me, so what I do, I skipped it. I moved this instead of keeping it here, moved it to the center, and just did this. Right? Reached for the wall, and then let it down. And the same thing, my left was actually fine, so I held this here, and just did this half of the motion. And then, about a month later, here I am, doing this with no problems whatsoever, with 70 pounds of resistance. That's one of the things that's really good about these, is that they're not fixed to any object, so you can really move them around and get it exactly the way you need it. And if you have to start here and just do this at first, that's okay. It's whatever is going to let you keep your shoulders stable in the socket, and that's what you're building. And then as time goes on, you feel good, and you go further and further and further and further. And when you're able to do this, well, now you're ready for the full exercise. So remember, this reverse fly is really one of the key movements. It is probably the single most important thing when you do it down here. Deltoids, right? Come more here, it's a little more traps, and you'll feel the difference as you do each angle from here to down to higher to way up here to vertical behind the head. And it's different when you do it with palms up and when you do it with palms down. These are different moves altogether. They work differently, and until your shoulders are really, really stable, I don't suggest you do palms down anywhere except all the way above your head in the vertical plane. The second thing is called the archer's pull. Strand pulling originated, as far as I've been able to find in my research on the internet, from archers. Back in the day, the Turks actually, and maybe people before them, I don't know, they had a series of bows they trained on up to 200-pound tests, is what's apparently been recorded. I guess they've changed the measurements over to figure out exactly what they were using. And you start here, just like you're drawing an arrow. You notice in my back, I'm not letting the shoulder curl forward, I'm pulling back. See that? That's really important. It's from the side. You're pulling back. You're not really doing an external rotation here, but you are going straight backwards from the shoulder. You don't want to let it roll over. You can do that. You see it collapsing there. That's not what you want. If that's what happens, you got to go lighter. Work these exercises on both sides of the body to make sure you stay balanced. And those are the big things. You can do a lot of things like the front raises and stuff, and of course on the other side, and other ways, palm up. You can also attach these to some other piece of equipment, right? Like you've seen Ito do in his shoulder stabilization series. It's a really good idea. If you haven't watched that video, you need to go to the user portaldo and check it out, where you're doing things in this range of motion, just here, and also above your head. These aren't heavy or strong enough. I haven't made these to be pulled around. They're mobile, so I can't do this. But you fix it to something, whether it's your door or whatever, and you pull forward like this. You can also use these to train your straight arm strength. If you put tension, well, guess what? Your inner elbow is holding that tension, right? It's like a scaled down version of what they're going through in the planche and the iron cross. So if you get them behind you and you just bring them to the plane of your body, you can start training for some of the tension that you need as sort of a prehab before you're ready to do Maltese or planche training in heavy volume. This will let you sort of pre-prepare your joints so you don't get hurt. That's what I wanted to show you guys as far as the strand pulling goes. These chest expanders are a great tool. I can't recommend them highly enough. They're really helping me out a lot. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope it was informative. And until next time, Slizzard Man out.